The following clip is from the North to South Show, live every Monday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we talk SEC football everything. We'd love to have you out next show, but for now, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, and enjoy this clip. The all-Alabama NFL team. If, let's say, in a crazy world where the NFL was expanding and they know that the South is huge for football and they know Alabama especially is a huge place for football, that the NFL was just like, we have 7 teams that are already coming into the league and we need one more to make all the divisions even. Why don't we put a team in Alabama and throw some crazy rule in where Alabama players can only have guys from Alabama, but no other teams are allowed to have Alabama players, and all Alabama teams. So you have the Alabama Crimson Tide NFL team and you have the Alabama Crimson Tide college team. Wouldn't that be something? Again, I'm just spitballing crazy ideas here, but I want to talk about what this Alabama football team would look like right now. And would this actually be a Super Bowl contending team? Because it is a very interesting conversation, because the talent on Alabama, of course, they are probably NFLU. I don't know if I want to say that, but I think it is pretty fair to say that Alabama has the best players in all the NFL right now if you take a whole team and put it in one. So I'm going to break down what I have as my all Alabama team right now. So let's get into that. Starting off with the quarterback position, I am going Tua. I think you could argue Mac Jones, but we haven't seen Mac Jones in the NFL yet. I don't know how you could just throw him in there. So I'm going to as my quarterback. Yes, Mac Jones could go on to have a way more successful career under the Patriots, under Bill Belichick, but I'm going Tua for now. So you can scratch in if you want Mac Jones at the backup quarterback position. Then I'm going to go with on my, running backs. Running backs, I think we're going to go Derrick Henry, I think, is the obvious number one to go. And then Kenyon Drake could be that second guy, but I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. You could also throw Najee Harris in here, like you could have a 3-headed monster in the backfield, but I only want to go 2 running backs because if I went a ton of different guys, like if I made a whole NFL roster out of all these guys, I'd have like 7 or 8 guys for each position, and I just want to break it down for the main guys. So I'm going to go 2 running backs. I'm going to go Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. Derrick Henry, obviously, being your big physical guy who's really hard to get to the ground, but Josh Jacobs, man, ever since he's been in the NFL, I think he should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, the year Kyler Murray did, but he's been tearing it up in the NFL too. So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs at running back for my second running back. Wide receiver position, this is by far the hardest one, especially the last 2 guys, because I think the first 2 are really easy to call. Julio Jones, I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL, regardless of stats. Put stats aside, if you want to look at playmaking ability and just overall soundness at the position, Julio Jones is the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, and I could argue till my day's end that is the truth about who is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Don't give me Michael Thomas. I will entertain the thought of DeAndre Hopkins right now, but don't even give me that Michael Thomas garbage. Julio Jones is a billion times better than him. And then the second guy easily is Amari Cooper. For the Cowboys, he just goes out. He's been having amazing seasons ever since he's joined the league with the Oakland Raiders back then and then traded to Dallas. Him and Dak have been doing really well, and I think Amari Cooper definitely deserves to be wide receiver number 2 here. The last ones are really tough for me because here's my kind of pool of guys. Obviously, you're going to have all 4 of the guys on the receiving core in the 2019 team. So you're going to have Devontae, you're going to have Jalen Waddle, you're going to have Jerry Jeudy, you're going to have Henry Ruggs. But what about Calvin Ridley, a guy that probably, if you're not an Alabama fan, you forgot that name just because of the overload of talent that Alabama has constantly been putting out at the wide receiver position. Calvin Ridley only went in as 1 Alabama wide receiver into the draft, where the last couple of years you've seen 2 or multiple wide receivers for Alabama get drafted in the first round. Calvin Ridley, I'm pretty sure, went 2018, and he went pick 24 or something like that to the Falcons. I have him as my wide receiver 3 here. He has actually performed really well in the NFL. A guy that has been so underrated in the NFL at the receiving position. Of course, he was lined up with Julio Jones, but I think Calvin Ridley definitely deserves right now in this instance of NFL performance. I can't put Jerry Jeudy and I can't put Henry Ruggs above Calvin Ridley right now in an NFL perspective. And then number 4, I'm going to go Devontae Smith. I really want to go Devontae Smith, so I'm going to do it. Yes, Waddle could be there, Ruggs could be there, or Jeudy could be there. I just really feel good about Devontae Smith on the Eagles and just him in the NFL in general. I don't care about his size. He has proved time and time again that size doesn't matter. He can make plays at any level. He's going into the NFL. People still underestimate him for his size, but I am not falling for any of that crap. I still think Devontae will be the best wide receiver out of those four, so I'm going Devontae Smith as my wide receiver 4 there. Looking at tight end, I'm going O.J. Howard. Not that much of an argument there. I don't know who else you take there. My offensive line, I'm going Robinson, Bozeman, Wills, Kelly, and Fluker. So I think as a whole, the offense is the strength of this team. You look at the running back and wide receiver position, and you're just smiling. If you're an NFL team and you have those two guys, yes, Tua could definitely perform better at the NFL level so far. But I think that those guys alone, like everyone that I just named off, would make a pretty good NFL offense if you're just asking me. Again, if you're just asking me. Now moving on to the defensive side of the ball. Now this is where it gets a bit interesting because I don't think it's as strong as the offense, but I still think you got a really solid defense here. You go Jonathan Allen on the D-line, Quinnen Williams, and De'Aaron Payne. That's your D-line there. Then you go your edge rushers, Ryan Anderson and Anthony Jennings. Linebackers, you go Mac Wilson, Rashaan Evans, and then in the cornerback, you got Trevon Diggs, you got Patrick Surtain, and you got Marlon Humphrey. And then in the safety position, again, this was a toss-up for me, but I wanted to go up because I had to put a Bears player in here, and obviously I'm wearing the Bears shirt. Justin Fields goes to the Bears. Bears are going to be Super Bowl champions. It's going to be a great next couple seasons with him. But back to the safeties, I think Minka is definitely the obvious number one safety. And then instead of Landon Collins, I'm going to go Eddie Jackson, Bo Jack, out of the Bears because I'm a Bears fan. I've been watching Eddie Jackson for a long time now. And in that 2018 especially, that season, he was one of the best safeties in all the NFL. So I want to see him there. So that's kind of my rundown of an all-Alabama NFL team. But, the big question is, how would this team perform? First of all, what division would they be put in? If you go 5-team divisions, you're looking at this team definitely being an NFC South team, maybe the AFC South, depending on what conference they need to fill in or whatever. How would this team perform? I think on an offensive level, this could be, if Tua really picks it up at the quarterback position, again, a lot lies on the quarterback position. If Tua starts performing better in the NFL, this could be the best offense in the NFL. You have all pros all over the field. You got a really good O-line on the offensive side of the ball, great running backs, and then the wide receiver room is by far the best in the NFL. Like, this beats the Buccaneers room. This beats, who else has a really good room? The Browns, I guess you could say, would be up there, but I think by far, the Cardinals, how do I miss them? Because they got Hopkins, they got AJ Green, they got Larry Fitzgerald, they got Christian Kirk. Julio, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, and Devontae Smith beat that by a mile, in my opinion. And then O.J. Howard at the tight end position, I don't think that is causing much of a problem there. So I think offensively, this team will be really good. Defensively, I think that you lack a bit that just one really good star player. I'm guessing Mink is the best player on this whole defense. That's who I'd say is the best player on this whole defense. Him or Marlon Humphrey. It's really tough. I still think that this is a very solid NFL defense. I don't think that it would be, again, top 3 in the league or anything like that, like you'd have with this Alabama offense, this Alabama Crimson Tide, all NFL offense you'd have, but I still think you have a very good defense here. Where would this team perform and how would they do in the NFL? I think a guaranteed playoff team, in my opinion. 110% you see this team as a playoff team because they got talent all over the board. They got all pros all over the board. And you cannot tell me that this team doesn't make the playoffs pretty much every year. If this team stays together and everyone stays healthy, this is a guaranteed playoff team. Super Bowl, it could be up there. Again, you look at the Bucs right now. The Bucs are pretty good. They got a pretty good offense, and defensively, I think I definitely take the Bucs over this team right now, just because the one thing that's really screaming out to me is that Tua's position at quarterback. He hasn't played great for the Dolphins, and I can't make an educated get. Like, I can't tell you that this team beats the Buccaneers or beats the Chiefs when you don't have a cemented good quarterback in the NFL. I still think this team makes it to the playoffs on talent alone, regardless of the quarterback position, but it's Tua at the quarterback position that's really holding me back. Again, if Tua goes out and balls out in Miami this year with his new weapons in Jalen Waddle, you could definitely see me saying this team is definitely a championship team in the NFC or AFC, but I think right now, you go guaranteed playoff team, but I'm going to have them like a second round exit. So they either exit the wild card round or the divisional round when they have to go up against some big boys. And Tua just can't outplay the other quarterback. I think that's where you go there. But overall, great offense, great defense, automatic playoff team. If you had a better quarterback or a more proven quarterback, I think that's when I really say, okay, this is a Super Bowl team, 110%.